Maui Tao, good morning, and how are you, faithful? Captain Niner coming to you with your Captain and Coffee morning report for, February 27th, 2025. Yeah, we obviously I took the day off yesterday. That's why there's no report yesterday. I've got a very old, sick dog, and so I was at home spending time, taking care of her yesterday. She, like I said, she's old. But so let's go ahead and get into the stuff. This episode might be a little longer than our usual one, just because we're covering a couple of days worth of stuff. And why is my phone going off for no reason? All right, let's first off, let's get into the we have this is so whoever the Niners media person that sent this out, kind of they didn't word it completely correct. This is a list. This is not the complete coaching list for next year. This is the coaches that have been added and the coaches who have titles who have been changed. So this is obviously because there's certain people like KJ Wright not on this list, stuff like that. Obviously Robert Sala not on this list, even though he kind of fits someone who should be on this. So again, they didn't preface this correctly. So again, so we have Colt Anderson, who are now is our special assistant special teams assistant to the special teams coach. We have Ronald Blair III. Yes, that Ronald Blair. Good to see him back in the building. He is now coaching, and he is the special teams quality control. We have Gus Bradley, who is the first of the assistant head coach of defense. So now this year, just like with Brandon Staley the year before, we have now got two assistant head coaches. Then we got Ray Browns, who is the defensive back slash cornerbacks list. The other person who's not on this list, by the way, is Daniel Bullocks. Chris Forrester is now the assistant head coach slash offensive line coach. I don't know how many teams. I mean, it's not often that many teams have an assistant head coach, let alone have two assistant head coaches on both teams. But to be honest, especially someone like Gus Bradley, who's been around the league, as a very good defensive coordinator and a head coach at times, he definitely deserves a title of that stature. Let me pull up something here real quick. Make sure I'm. Then we also have Joe Graves. He is now the offensive assistants and quarterbacks. And then we have Patrick Hedgehorn. He is the chief of staff slash football. Leonard Hank, now the wide list. Andrew Hayes Stoker, offensive assistant and wide receiver. Okay, come on, everything open up. Then we got Clay Kubiak, who is now officially your offensive coordinator. We've known that was coming for a while. I'm not sure if they interviewed anybody after Noah Pauley. I'm not 100% sure. But now I'm going to guess that now we have officially got it to the point to where he's allowed to be the head, because of that whole situation. So there's that. Mick Lombardi is now you're going to be your quarterbacks coach. Now I'm going to save the next slide for a reason why with that. But Mick Lombardi is our new quarterbacks coach, position formerly held by Brian Greasy. We've got Jake Lynch, who is the son of GM John Lynch. He is now a defensive quality control. Greg Scruggs, offensive assistant defensive line. And then Jacob Webster is now your offensive quality control. Again, that is not the entire coaching staff list. That is the coaching staff list for the most part of everybody who is new and or had their title changed for those getting promotions and all that kind of stuff. So speaking of the quarterbacks coach, Brian Greasy is no longer our quarterbacks coach. That said, per Matt Barrows and his sources, and if Matt Barrows knows something, it's probably true, to be honest with you. I've never had anything with Matt Barrows where it's like, oh, you're completely wrong. But anyways, and this goes back to 2023 as well, that Brian Greasy didn't know how much he was going to be or how long he wanted to be a head coach. Obviously, not being a head coach, but just being a coach in the NFL in general. Coaches in the NFL work 100-hour weeks easily. And he just didn't want to do it anymore. Apparently he had an issue with it last year, but decided to check it through and just, go through it. But it's just him saying he doesn't want to coach anymore. No ill will or anything crazy like that. This wasn't Mick Lombardi jumping him in line to be the or not Mick Lombardi, but this isn't Clay Kubiak jumping him in line to be the the OC, not him wanting play calling duties. He simply just did not want to coach anymore. Which again, if you want to be a coach, you're gonna have it's a tough job. Again, these guys are sleeping on couches half the nights during seasons. Like I said, working 100-hour weeks and stuff like that. So again, thank you, Brian Greasy. He was one of the guys pounding the table extremely hard for Brock Purdy. Was instrumental in getting him ready to go um, when when he took over a starting job against Miami. So again, thank you for your service, Brian Greasy. I hope you enjoy your second retirement because you did retire twice actually for being a player and then as a broadcaster. So maybe he's going back in a booth. But anyways, it was a good breakup basically between Brian Greasy and the 49ers, and it makes sense, even more sense as to why he turned down a head coaching position with the Jets asked to interview him. I mean, if you don't even want to be a quarterback's coach because of the time constraints and everything, that little obviously as a head coach you're going to have even more. All right, so we're going to talk about things. We're also going to talk about some of the things that were said at the combine. Why John Lynch's press conference was not live streamed or whatever because at the combine by the 49ers, I have no idea. So anybody who watched it, I think it was Dave Lombardi. He recorded off his phone basically, and then put it up for everybody to watch afterwards. So thank you for Dave Lombardi for doing that, and then thank you for Matt Barrows and all the other people who were streaming, who were in, actually there to put it up there. As far as Trent Williams is concerned, Trent Williams is playing. Trent is playing, and he is ready. He seems extra motivated to have a strong season. So basically, Trent knew last year would look like shit. Injuries and some of those stuff that was slowing him down. He's taking time off. I think we're going to get an even more motivated Trent Williams next year, which on one end is great, and the NFL should probably be terrified of pissed off and motivated Trent Williams. That sounds like someone who can literally move a mountain. Let's take a drink of my, as you can see, our sponsor and affiliate of the Goat Fuel. We've got the Jerry Rice Tropical Berry. Good stuff. Good stuff. It's a long day yesterday. Nearly more energy to get going this morning. And then of them with Debo, and then Lynch said that the team in general is on good terms with Debo, and they'll honor his desire to get a fresh start. We're at least allowing him to look. Doesn't mean necessarily something's going to get done. As far as the trade goes, I still think we're going to end up releasing him. Right before I want to say it's March 18th, 17th, 18th, where he said a big bonus coming. So I think it'll be right before then. But otherwise, there's no issues with Debo. Nobody's going to be complaining and bitching and all that kind of stuff. It's a good thing. It's just probably sometimes in life you just need a fresh reset, and that's what it looks like with what's come to terms with Debo and the 49ers. All right. Also at the press conference, the 49ers. This is confirmed by basically Lynch saying it that we have begun contract negotiations. So far, they've been pretty civil and stuff like that. So they want Brock there. They said this at their end of the year press conference as well. They want Brock there as long as we're here, referring to both him and Kyle. No surprise there. These guys definitely, this is their quarterback, and they want him there. It's just that simple. It shouldn't be anything different other than that. Let's see. The next one is going to be with CMC. Lynch said CMC is doing great, doing really well, and thinks he'll be ready for at least parts of the offseason program. Basically, meaning they're probably just going to let CMC rest as much as humanly possible. That way, when it comes to next season, he's good to go. So that's the way I'm interpreting it, is that he's going to be there doing what he can. But for the most part, don't expect to see like a full-blown CMC until actual training camp starts for the most part. And that's, par for the course. That shouldn't be too surprising for anybody who knows that he's coming off two Achilles issues, everything else that's going on with him. Just get everybody back 100%. Just like the same issue with Trent. Just have everybody come back 100%. Take the L from last year and move on. As far as Brandon Ayuk, Brandon, he didn't have any updates for BA because there is, I can't remember if it's this week or next week, he goes to see his doctor that did the surgery. And there's certain benchmark things that doctor looks for as far as how you're progressing from when he had the surgery till now. I think it's like a 6 month kind of thing. So we are waiting for him to have that before we get an actual update. So really not much to talk about BA's update until that appointment. We'll see how he is from there. All right, and then the annual NFLPA team rankings came out, and that is basically the NFL Players Association taking basically doing a survey of what they think about the facilities and everything else from top to bottom, from every head coach, the weight room, all that kind of stuff, top to bottom for each club as a whole. And as you see, the 49ers came in number 8, excuse me, overall, obviously a pretty good number in the ratings for the entire NFL, with the Arizona Cardinals coming in dead last. All right, so obviously these are non-biased or anything like that. It's just the players giving their actual opinion on all this kind of stuff. Head coach A. So for anybody who thought that Kyle was um, losing the locker room or any of that kind of stuff, sorry to tell you, not happening. The players love Kyle. Now, he may have issues with a specific player here or there, but for the most part, they love the head coach. Ownership A minus. Kind of surprised at an A minus. Jack kind of shells out for quite a bit. You know what I mean? Gives up big contracts. Got us, one of the better stadiums in the league. There's being updates to it going into the next season already. That are already under construction, all this kind of stuff. So yeah, treatment of families is B plus. One thing that I did see that was a knock on the 49ers is that as far as like with practices and game days and stuff like that, they do have basically a child care center. That said, the 49ers are only one of like 4 teams that actually charge the player for this daycare type of a service. Which I'm thinking, it's kind of weird because these guys are millionaires, and I guess it's like $50 for them to watch the kids for like practice or games and stuff like that. Well, I mean, it's $50 to guys who are after the game you're getting handed game checks of like 17, 20, $30,000. So I don't understand why we're complaining about that. You're making that much money. Um, and then food cafeteria A, I've heard good things about the food there. Weight room A minus, which I've seen the weight room there, looks good. The locker room in general B, maybe they want a bigger TV, more room or something like that. Strength coach is A, not bad. Training staff B minus, and that's training room B minus. Honestly, with all the injuries and everything else, I kind of expected that to be lower. And that's not just because of this year. There's been other years where this team has been pretty atrocious when it comes to dealing with injuries and stuff like that. So I actually expected that to be a little bit lower. Team travel A, jet is usually pretty good. Shows out good money for these guys, good hotels and good planes. And then nutritionist B plus. I'm not sure what would bring that down currently. But yeah, so like I said, overall number 8, and number 1 for like the 3rd year in a row is the Miami Dolphins. A lot of that has to do, my personal opinion, I think that has to do with Florida doesn't pay sales tax or state tax. So you know what? You're getting more money in your pocket, and it doesn't probably hurt to be down in Miami most of the year. So I think you add those 2 things up, and it's one of those things like it makes everything else that might be subpar seem a lot better. All right, and then some change of things next year. The chain gang not going away, but not as important. They're going to be working more along the electronic system that they've been doing for measuring. So the chain gang will start being phased out more or less at this point, and they're going to be going basically the electronic thing. Which why not? I mean, it's a lot more accurate. Why would you waste time with a chain gang? With there's human issues that could be someone pulls it a little bit too tight, they take a step over, anything like that. Why bother with any of that? So there's that. And then as far as today at the combine, we are going to get some measurements finally. And we're going to finally get some on-field workouts. So we'll definitely get some stuff to watch starting today. I did see news that Abigail Carter had some sort of a foot injury, and so he's got to decide whether or not he's going to be getting surgery now or later type of situations. Probably won't affect his draft status at all. He'll be ready to go. Come opening day type situation. And then, as usual, ladies and gentlemen, make sure to use the link down below if you're going to be ordering some goat fuel. Thank you again for sponsoring the show. I'll leave a script in the link. You'll be able to save 10% and it puts some money in my pocket. So make sure if you're going to be ordering big orders of goat fuel, I've got like 3 cases here. I think I've got like 6 that are coming today or tomorrow. So I'm gonna have a ton of gold fuel in this house in the next few days. Um, but as far as the rest of the day, Niner Faithful Radio doesn't have anything going on today. But later on today, me and Angel, aka 49er Media, will be going over some things, sometime between 4 and 5 today. Obviously, that'll include any snippets that come out with 49ers related as far as the combine is concerned. Probably to talk about some of the guys that they've actually spoken to, because they have spoken to quite a few guys already at the combine, and then anything that comes up there. So until then, and then we'll definitely see you guys again tomorrow morning. Have a great day, faithful. Talk to you, love. One love.